Some people buy luxury cars just to flex. Me, I bought mine to breathe. After years of grinding with nothing but survival on my mind, I finally gave myself one thing I swore I'd own before I left this world: a custom matte black McLaren. That car wasn't just an engine and bodywork, it was my therapy, my peace, my trophy. And when I moved into what I thought was a calm upper-class neighborhood, gated entry, quiet streets, people more obsessed with their lawns than anything else, I figured it was the perfect place to finally enjoy it. But peace doesn't last long when you park a dream car in front of people who hate their own lives. Before I go on, drop a comment telling me which country you're watching from. I want to see how far this story spreads. Now here's the twist. The villain of this story wasn't your stereotypical HOA Karen, not even close. This time it was Randall, a self-declared HOA cop. Not a real officer, not even a board member, just some wannabe neighborhood enforcer with a neon vest and a badge he clearly printed off the internet. The man was basically a midlife crisis in human form. It started with a letter, not a kind one, slapped under my windshield, written in messy, furious handwriting. Your car is a threat to our community. It's too fast, intimidates children, and destroys the peaceful spirit of this neighborhood. You have 2 weeks to remove it before action is taken. I laughed so hard I nearly spilled my coffee. I snapped a photo and added it to my HOA Clowns folder on my phone. Surely this guy wasn't serious. I wasn't speeding, and the HOA rules said nothing about banning certain cars. Plus, if anyone was dangerous, it was Randall, always flying down the street in his beat-up Dodge Charger, yelling at kids about respecting the rules. Fast forward to day 15. Sunshine, fresh coffee in hand, I stepped outside and froze. My McLaren was ruined. Not scratched, not dented, wrecked. Window smashed, tire slashed, paint shredded as if someone had attacked it with sandpaper. The car looked like it had been dragged through a war zone. That's when my neighbor Denise came running up wide-eyed. Whispering, she said, "I saw Randall out here last night, him and the landscaper. They were messing with your car." Messing? No, that was straight up criminal. But instead of raging, I smiled. Why? Because Randall had no clue I had a porch-like camera. I walked inside, pulled up the footage, and there he was, Randall, in all his fake cop glory, hammer in hand, ranting about community safety while absolutely destroying my McLaren. That was the moment I picked up my phone and called my lawyer. Randall thought he could bully me out of my own property. Instead, he just gifted me a brand new McLaren, on his dime. When my lawyer saw the footage, his first words were priceless. This guy thinks he's what, a neighborhood sheriff? He actually laughed before telling me to forward everything to the police. Property damage at that scale wasn't petty, it was a felony. But Randall, he didn't back down. The next morning came that obnoxious knock on my door, the kind that only a wannabe authority figure makes. I opened it to see Randall in his neon vest, cheap aviators, and a clipboard like he was auditioning for Mall Cop of the Year. "You've ignored official HOA directives," he barked, jabbing a finger at me. "Your car endangered this neighborhood. I have the right to enforce action. Consider yourself fined." I nearly choked on my coffee. Fined? By who? The HOA handbook doesn't even mention cars like mine.
And last I checked, you're not law enforcement. His jaw tightened. I am law enforcement for this community. If you don't like it, leave. So I decided to poke the bear. Funny, because I've got video proof of you committing felony vandalism. So unless you're planning on enforcing that law against yourself, I'd suggest you back off. His face drained for a moment before he stormed off, mumbling something about calling the board. 2 hours later, I was dragged into an emergency HOA meeting. Randall had clearly begged the board to step in. Sitting at the table, the president, some woman named Marka, tried smoothing things over. Let's be reasonable. Randall was acting in the community's best interest. Maybe the damage was excessive. I cut her off. No, there's no maybe about it. He destroyed private property, and you're defending him? One of the quieter board members cleared his throat. Technically, Randall doesn't even serve on the board. He volunteers. Volunteers. So not only did this clown trash my $250,000 McLaren, but the HOA never even authorized him to act. That sealed it. I let the police handle Randall and my lawyer handle the HOA for enabling him. When the cops reviewed the footage, they didn't hesitate. Randall was cuffed right on my driveway, sputtering about being framed while neighborhood kids pointed and laughed. But that wasn't the end. No, that was just the beginning of Randall's nightmare, because my McLaren wasn't just damaged, it was totaled, and Randall needed to learn what real consequences looked like. My lawyer filed charges: vandalism,
impersonating an officer, and criminal mischief. The impersonation charge alone was heavy, since Randall had strutted around with a fake badge like he was the star of HOA Cops. When it finally hit court, the footage said it all. There he was, full cosplay mode, hammering my car and shouting about illegal vehicles. The judge leaned back, rubbed his temples, and said, "Sir, not only were you unauthorized by this HOA, you destroyed property worth more than most homes. You're looking at prison time." Randall's attorney tried to spin it, but even the HOA board abandoned him. By the end of the trial, the board itself was under fire. Homeowners realized they'd allowed Randall to run around unchecked. A petition spread like wildfire, and within weeks, the entire board was dissolved. As for Randall, convicted, bankrupted, ordered to pay restitution for the car, damages for impersonation, and every cent of my legal fees. He lost his job, his reputation, and eventually his house. By the time the dust settled, I had a brand new McLaren shining in my driveway while Randall shuffled past in a faded hoodie, forced to rent a place across town. Neighbors would smirk when they saw him. "Careful, Randall might write you a ticket," they'd joke. I didn't need to lift another finger. His reputation was ruined, the HOA was gone, and my story became the neighborhood's favorite cautionary tale. As I stood on my porch, coffee in hand, watching the sunset reflect off my car, I couldn't help but think, you can dress like a cop, act like a cop, even scream like a cop, but the moment you pick a fight with someone who's ready to fight back, you'll regret it instantly. And that's exactly what happened to Randall. His neon vest and fake badge didn't make him powerful. They made him unforgettable for all the wrong reasons. So now I'll leave it to you. Was justice truly served, or do you think Randall got off easy? If someone wrecked your car, would you press charges or take matters into your own hands? Tell me in the comments. And don't forget to like and subscribe, because I want to know exactly how you would have handled Randall.